Welcome back to the Beef and BArnzy channel. Today, it's been a little while, but we have another review. We have HyperDrive Pearl. Now, what is the HyperDrive Pearl going to do? That's a very good question. HyperDrive had a slightly higher RG core than a lot of the other balls I've got with me. 252. Gremlin, which recently came out, is 250. Similar diff. This has way more intermediate differential. The PSA is higher. So I'm not sure what that's going to translate to. I've used it a little bit, so I have sort of a general idea of what we're going to see, but I think it's better to see it out on the lanes. For comparison, I also have the Identity, which is, I think, 251, so a hair smaller. And then I have the lowest RG of the lot, the Attention Star, which is 249 or 248. So we've kind of got that spectrum from like 248 all the way up to 252. 4 different Pearl balls. So let's see what they do on the lanes. Cover-wise, I spoke to Chris Schlemmer, the brand manager. This is a non-nano Pearl cover that is different chemically from the Gremlin. Not sure what that means, but it is different. I think we're trying to sort of have a modern day version of UC2 X2 with the HyperDrive being the X2 and the Gremlin being the UC2. But we'll see. We're going to throw some shots, got a few different angles, and let's get going. All right, so we're here at Highland Lanes. Thanks again to Mark for all in the lanes for us. Yeah, let's see what we got. Ooh, nice little regulation flat 10 to start. I'm barely warmed up, so I'm gonna use that as a excuse right off the get-go. Forgot to say, we have a 5 3/8 inch pin, we have a 4.5 inch mass bias, and we have a 3 inch buffer. This is pretty close to all of the first time kind of try layouts, test layouts, I guess. Whew. Okay, we need to dial this in a little bit, figure out exactly where we need to be. But this is, of course, finished with Power Edge. So here we go. All right, that was probably a little bit too far right, but you know, after the flat 10 and the 2-pin, we needed to see some good things happen. From how I've been playing around with it a little bit, I feel like it's a little more rounded, a little more continuous than the Gremlin. I feel like the Gremlin stands up quite a bit harder in the one spot. Whereas I feel like this HyperDrive is a little more of a more continuous motion. I don't know whether that's going to translate for everybody. For me, I've been saying for a while that I think this Gremlin, I've got a slightly shorter pin buffer on this Gremlin. I think this Gremlin is much better for going a little straighter up the lane rather than really going around it. You get that pretty strong motion off the back of the pattern, and I kind of like it when I'm sort of playing a little straighter with that, get it really clean through the front part of the lane, and then I see that motion down the lane. Where I've struggled a little bit with the Gremlin is when I've had to move much further left and slow down and really try and go around the lane. I feel like then it just gets a little bogged down and it kind of gets a little forward. And that's where I'm hoping that this HyperDrive is going to be a bit more rounded, so you can use slower speeds and get further left, kind of like this. Ooh, that was nice. But it's a much more, like, it just keeps going. Whereas I feel like Gremlin, when I get in that spot, kind of makes a really fast move and then it gets forward. And that's why I like the Gremlin a little bit better when I'm a little further right. Let's see if I can show you what I mean now. You kind of see how it quits through the pins. And like for me, that's because it makes that move a little bit too sharp, and then it doesn't have enough energy to keep going. That's why I think that straighter players are really like the Gremlin, because when you keep it up the lane, you really see that motion where it goes down the lane, and then it really makes a sharp move left. It's a little counterintuitive, because you would think that the further left you go, the quicker ball you need. And it's actually kind of the opposite a lot of the time. As you move left, you really need the continuous motion, not necessarily the super sharp motion. Yeah, this is the Gremlin again. That's where I really like the Gremlin. I think it really fits that gap nicely. All right, let's throw some more with the HyperDrive. That's what we've all come to see. Ooh, that one peeled. I think that this HyperDrive is probably going to be a bit better for the guys who have, or ladies, who have a little bit more speed and a little higher rev rates. I think they're going to like this one a little better than the Gremlin. Whereas I think lower speed players, slightly lower rev rate, are probably going to like the Gremlin better. I think both would work. I just think that like the Gremlin is going to show up better for the slower speed players. I think that it feels like the cover's a little cleaner. I think I'm going to like this HyperDrive quite a bit. Like I think whereas the Gremlin for me is kind of a ball that fits in a 10 or 12 ball arsenal. Not sure. It's really, really good in that one spot, but because it doesn't like open up the whole bag, like open up the whole lane, should I say, I think it makes it harder to have it in a smaller sort of 6 ball arsenal for me. I think this or the Attention Star probably fit in that gap better. All right, let's have a look at the Attention Star. Now, I actually haven't thrown the Attention Star today, so this has got a slightly weaker layout, 5 3/4 inch pin, same PSA and buffer. I would expect this one to be earlier and rollier. For me, on the house shot, you're not going to notice as much difference, but like, I just feel like this one's going to be digging a little earlier, the lower RG, kind of like that's how it's going to fit for me. All 4 of these balls, I would say that the Gremlin is probably going to be the most responsive of all of them. And then it's probably going to be between the Identity and the HyperDrive, whereas this is probably going to be the earliest and the smoothest. So there's the attention star. Let's have a little bit of a look at Velmo's identity. Interestingly enough, while I don't think that they are massively different, I did think that I like this one a little bit better. Felt like this one was a little cleaner than the original one. Definitely push further down the lane than the attention star, which is kind of what I would expect. That's the ball I've been using off my attention star. Being as it's a limited edition, HyperDrive is probably going to end up replacing that in the bag. So let's try another one with the HyperDrive. Whew. You can tell the HyperDrive is the newest of the all of the balls. It's definitely got that extra new ball pop. All right, one more. Let's get further left with this. See what we got. Ooh. That looks like a pretty good one to finish on. HyperDrive is going to be available in September. The exact date will be right here on the screen. I kind of like it. Do I think right now that you're going to need both Gremlin and HyperDrive Pearl in your bag? I'm not sure. Depends how much you're using the Gremlin. But if you're using the Gremlin a lot, I think it's a good option off it. If the Gremlin's only in your bag a little bit, you're only using it a little bit, I think they're probably a little bit too close to have both. Thanks for watching. There will be a link to our friends over at Bowlers Mart, and you can pre-order the HyperDrive. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.